Riot purchases even more Bitfarms after the rejection becomes public. Bitfarms is looking at their options here. One of the biggest banks in the world chooses a side in this battle here. And let's also talk about Bitcoin here at the end. So first of all, I'd like to say here, according to Dr. Lewis, Riot announced that they bought over 3 million more shares of Bitfarms today, which was 11 hours ago. So it's basically yesterday. Uh, and they now own a full 10% of the company. And that was after that story went public yesterday. They bought even more, so they had like 9 point something percent. Now they have 10% of the company and growing. How is that affecting the stock price? Well, it's causing it to go up, and we'll take a look at that here in a moment. Soon it will be over that $2.30 that they offered Bitfarms. So that'll be interesting to see what the dynamic will be there. Have they put a hard cap on the value of Bitfarms shares with this offer? Can Bitfarms show that it's worth more than that quickly and perhaps completely nullify that sort of offer and get them to go higher? Oh, we'll see what's going on there. So let's see, Bitfarms, yeah, they're doing a strategic review. You can see Seeking Alpha's reporting on it, Street Insider. They're looking at their options in order to see what it would be best for shareholders basically in this situation. Basically, they're looking at what types of actions they could take going forward. Should they merge with this company, perhaps another company, just move on with their business model and not really pay too much mind to it. That's what they're looking at here, what that decision should be. I also have one more theory here, bit conspiracy-like. Is this the reason that the CEO left/was fired? Did the CEO want to approve of this sale and then was ousted by the board? Is that potentially what happened here? Because the timelines kind of line up decently well with that sort of storyline that the CEO perhaps wanted to sell out and the board said no, and then they fired him. Is that possibly what happened? That's completely conspiracy at this time because I can't prove that by any means, but the timeline kind of matches up with that sort of thing. So the next thing, JP Morgan, biggest bank in the world, supports Riot Platforms' bid to acquire Bitfarms. They're saying that it was a deal that makes a lot of sense if accepted. I don't think that's true. I don't think it makes sense for Bitfarms to take a 230 per share right on the cusp of a big run up where their price would be significantly higher than that. That seems excessively low. But of course, JP Morgan, the biggest bank in the world, is supportive of Riot becoming the largest Bitcoin miner in the world. Let me see. Yeah. Bitfarms. Let's see. Acquire rival company Bitfarms to build the largest publicly traded Bitcoin mining center in the world. Of course, JP Morgan supports this. That's their business model. They're like, yeah, that sounds great. So there's that. Some other headlines coming through on this. This one's coming out of CoinDesk. Riot plans hostile takeover of Bitfarms. So yeah, that's not going to lie. When I first read what was going on, it did sound like a hostile takeover, like they wanted to just force the deal regardless of what was going on there for Bitfarms. And personally, I bought Bitfarms. I didn't buy Riot. I have significantly more money in Bitfarms than I do in any of my Riot shares. So I did believe more in Bitfarms than in Riot. So that's my own personal feelings there. So I'm particularly happy about that. I do think Riot is a more inefficient business than Bitfarms. So I'm not sure how that would affect my shares necessarily. I mean, maybe they'll go up, maybe they'll go down. I don't know. I'm not too concerned at this moment. I just don't particularly love it. All right, so let's go into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin right now is actually coming down, and there's a reason for that. And honestly, it looks like Bitcoin is likely to come back down to this 66.9 level. So like right at 67, where we might see a double top form. See the top there, and then maybe today or tomorrow we'll get another top there. A double top, excuse me, double bottom. We might get like a double bottom pattern there with 70,000 as kind of the midline there on that, or really honestly 69.4, where all these candles kind of stop right there. 69.4 would be like the midpoint for that, and if it gets above that, we're likely to come back up over to like the 72, perhaps new all-time highs again. Now that's bull case. Bear case is we break through this, we come down to the bottom of support at 65.2, and hopefully don't break that and come even lower down, back down to 60,000. This is coming on the news of Mt. Gox settling in terms of a lot of not a lot of, I think it was like 15% or so of the Bitcoin lost from Mt. Gox is finally being sent out to the people that it belonged to. And that is drumming up a lot of fear of those people immediately selling their Bitcoin and causing a crash, which is inadvertently causing a little mini crash here. I wouldn't call it a crash, but pullback here with people being fearful that the price is about to drop dramatically as a result of those funds being released to their rightful owners. So we're seeing this slow kind of bleed off here down towards that $67,000 level. And at this point, I would expect it potentially to do a bounce there. And if it fails that bounce, I'd be looking at it to be, the 65, perhaps come down to like 62 to 60,000 if it bleeds off further from there. I'm still not too concerned. This is still very bullish. We went up, we're coming down a little bit. If we start to turn around here, this would just be nothing more than a downturn before, a down descending channel before we go back to the bull run. So I'm not really concerned about that yet. Even if it gets down to $60,000, I'm not really concerned about that yet. Let's see where the SMAs are actually. Yeah, we could come all the way down to the 20 here at 66.5. No issues. The 50s down at 64.9. Like, I'm not too concerned about this at all. Actually, this move down. So I'm just kind of watching it, waiting for it to come back up again in order to feel happy about all my shares and everything. Okay, so how has Bitfarms been reacting here? So we know Riot's been buying, and we're 3 cents away from being at that buy price that Riot mentioned that they wanted to be at. We actually went up to 229 today before the buying kind of subsided a little bit. Is it going to push over that? I think it likely will. Retail is now getting excited about this. Riot is still buying. This thing's going to very likely go over 230 pretty easily here. Let's take a look at the SMAs. Yeah, we are getting a bit away from it, so it could come all the way back down to 209, or we need to stay sideways around 230-ish for a few days for some of these SMAs to catch back up before we really could take off higher. Let's take a look at the fib levels. Yeah, we're coming right into this. We need to like slow down, maybe peak above this purple line here, or pink line, whatever color that is. And then maybe come tap it from above before we're going to move back on again. But this is going to represent some significant resistance right here at 129-ish area for now. Now, the reason they denied this, honestly, it was because like not 3 months ago, they were trading at almost $4 a share. So 230 is honestly a bit insulting, especially considering that we're on the cusp of a summer run. We've been building up tons of liquidity all the way since March. We got our bottom here after all that buckle down at 153 after all the CEO craziness. And we're setting up for a nice summer run. And if we get that summer run, we could see potentially price moving back up to $3 or higher again. So why would they take 230 when if they can hold out for 60 days, they'll be forced to buy them at over $3. It's a significant increase in price. So if Bitfarms can just hold off on, push the merger off further into summer, Riot might be paying a significantly higher price for those shares. So that's in their favor to push it off, not accept it, because that was a lowball offer. That was a bit insulting. And honestly, 60 days from now, they could be trading well over $3. And then at that point, Riot's going to have to come in with a premium above that price in order to get all the shares the way that they want. Today, we're actually seeing, we're up 2.26%. I think they're the only miner on my list that's up today. Riot is actually down today 1%, down to 1024. They've just been stuck in this range between, 1130 and, like 960 for weeks now. Kind of just stuck in there, not doing a whole lot. Not too exciting. CleanSpark is down 1.81% today. Again, they've been kind of coiling a little bit too here. It seems like the market is taking a breath, waiting to see what happens next here. Let's see what's going on with Mara real quick. Mara is down 1.3%. Yeah, kind of hanging out around that $20 level right now, 20.45. I wouldn't be surprised if it came back down to 1980, touched it one more time before going up again. I am looking for an opportunity to continue to add to my Mara calls right now. Let's see here. I am looking for it to get out of this channel to the upside. Once it gets out of this channel to the upside, I'd be looking for a very quick move to 23, perhaps even higher up to like the mid 20s on Mara. So I'm just kind of sitting and waiting for that right now, waiting to pounce. Bit Digital down 1.58%. Yeah, it's really flat, kind of boring day so far. But hopefully we'll get a little more exciting later. Let's see what the cipher warrants are like. Cipher warrants have been coming. Okay, so it came out of this pennant and it came down. So we're probably going to go back under $1 on this thing. That's unfortunate, but I will pick more shares under $1. So it gets under $1 in the 90s. I would be happy to pick up a few more, like a few more hundred warrants for CIFRW, cipher warrants, and ride those up to like the 160 to even $2 range on this thing. I think this will be the dip before the rip sort of situation here going on with a lot of the miners, to be honest. Now let's take a look at IREN real quick. I don't cover IREN all the time. So as expected, IREN is kind of flagging here. There is a bit of a gap down. Today, we're down 7% today. So we might see it come down, like I said, into the high sixes, high to low sixes, somewhere in the sixes. We're coming into the sixes. That's my opinion. Anyways, for IREN right now, that was just such a big move. I know a lot of people were saying like, oh, but it went so high off of such good news, it's going to keep going. That's not really how this works. It's going to go up. People are going to realize how much profit was that. Let's see. Just the move, just this move was 75%. If you make 75% in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, if you make a 75% profit in 6 days and you don't take any of that off the table, you're a crazy person. So that's why this is pulling back. 75% in 6 days is a wild amount of money. People are taking profit as they should. That's a responsible thing to do if you make 75% in 6 days. So that's what's going on here. It's going to continue to go on for a little while. We might see it come back down into the 20. I don't know if it'll come all the way down to the 20 SMA. Actually, let me turn on the 13, see where the 13 falls. Yeah, we might come back down to the 13, which is like 638 or so. And I could expect something like that. Let's turn on the fib, see where those land. Okay, I have too many of these on. Hold on, I was looking at something that required way too many of these. Let me turn off all the ones I don't like. There we go. All right. Yeah, so we went to the top of this fib, stopped at the bottom of this fib. If we break below this one here at 714, we're likely to come back down perhaps to 611. I don't think we'll come all the way back down to the fives. I think we'll get caught in the sixes somewhere in this space. Let me draw a box. I think we'll get caught somewhere in this space, which, oh, hey, look at that. Yeah, between the two white lines. We're going to get caught between the two white lines. Now, if that doesn't happen, that would only be if we were able to create a bull flag here long enough for this 13 to get up above these two white lines and catch up to where price is currently, around like $7. So if this 13 can catch up to $7 before it falls below $7 in price, then we could very easily see this as a flag and continuation upward from there. But it's going to take a breath, and that's just natural. That's profit taking. That's normal. Nothing to be concerned about. I don't think that the run is necessarily over, but it is going to take a breather for a little while here. So let's take a look at CORZ, Core Scientific. So I got some comments about this recently. People want some updates on this thing. This thing is going parabolic. Wow. I haven't looked at this thing in a while. I mean, I've been drawing on here since like back here in March. Let me turn off some SMAs, take a look at some stuff. So yeah, this thing is way up right now. Actually, let me turn on the SMA. We're way above the 5-day. We're way above the 20. We're way above the 50. This thing's gonna very likely, it's got to pull back a little bit. It's got to pull back a little bit, at least to 457, because since May 1st, so in 29 days, we've seen a 80% increase. Yeah, like it's got to come back to the SMA. It's got to touch it. Let's see where the fibs are landing. This is the fib Bollinger Band, by the way. It hasn't been around long enough for my thing. Let me see. Maybe I do that. Maybe I can see if something on 20. Okay. Yeah, so we're near the top here of the fib Bollingers. But we touch the top, we're likely to come back down. Oof, maybe to the 5 level here at, or the 3136 something level. What's it? 3 what is it? The 382. We might come back to the 382 around 457, maybe all the way down to 4 down here, $4 to come back to the baseline for the fib levels. But volume's kind of going flat. We are severely overbought on the daily. I would expect price to at least come back to 457 perhaps even give back this big green candle here, this 15% one at some point 422. Now it could be wrong. Obviously, I could be wrong. It could flag here and then just continue on upward and just charge all the way up to this high back here at like $6. That could happen. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but the thing just similar to like with IREN, there was a huge run up in a short period of time. There's likely to be some profit taking or just people removing risk from the table here. And that's just a normal average thing to do when you see that type of a move. You see a 15% candle, you better expect, a 3-4% pullback off of the top of that in order to, for people to secure profits. And that's kind of what we saw, a 3.4% pull back from the very top. In total, we might even see a little more. We might see something like a 10%. I mean, on miners, you can see as much as a 20, honestly. 10% would take us back down to the 5-day moving average, which would be a normal pullback. Now, if it flags up here, if it just continues to flag up here and go sideways between, $5 and 550-ish, the SMAs might have time to catch up. And if they can catch up to it, then of course they can create a new base up here and then continue on. But my expectation would be for it to come back a little bit after that. Let's take a look at some of our other plays. So I saw ARM did something big yesterday. ARM did a big old move yesterday. Now we're down 4% today, but yesterday it was up 8.98%, and that was off of a deal with AMD to produce more AI chips. Now, man, I was really upset I wasn't in that. I'm constantly wanting to get an ARM, and I'm constantly missing these big moves on it. That's okay. I am expecting it to come back to about 115. Around 115, I'll be looking at maybe getting into this thing. But that is, of course, if it does not do that before the NVIDIA split, which is coming in like about 2 weeks. Then I don't know if I'd be interested as much in ARM. Like, I'm still interested in ARM, but there are some concerns I have about ARM, especially with their holding in terms of who's holding the majority of their shares. That'd be SoftBank owns about 90% of this company. I don't like that, even though I do like ARM and what it does. I don't like that one entity has a 90% stake in it, and it is not the company itself. So that's a little concerning in that respect with ARM, but I do believe ARM is going to be a very important company in the future, and I have been wanting to pick it up, and I just keep missing these buys. I keep waiting for this ascending channel that it's in right now to break back down to $100, and perhaps that's the wrong idea. Now, if price does break up above this area right here, between 133 and where price currently is, honestly, and 120, like if we get above 133, above all this chop here, yeah, then I'd be saying, okay, well, I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and buy this thing at a higher price than I wanted to, if it manages to do that. Let's take a look at Adobe. How is our cup and handle working out right now? How's it going? Oh, hey, we actually got a nice little move today. Okay, let me turn off some of these drawings. Okay, so, man, I have so many drawings on here. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. Okay, where am I at with this? Now, we are still in this downward move in this upward ascending channel. We came to the bottom of it, we bounced off of the bottom of it. That's actually a really good sign. This is no longer a cup and handle. Back here, this scoop into this handle, it's no longer a cup and handle. This went too far down. So it's not a cup and handle anymore. But we are in a larger, so we came to the top of this larger descending channel, and then we went down to the bottom of this smaller ascending channel, and we bounced off the bottom of that. I like that. If we can get out of this larger descending channel, I am looking at considerable upside. Now, it's got to get out of there. If it doesn't get out of this descending channel, I'm not buying because that is not confirmation that it's going to go up. So I really need to wait and see. I'm looking for it to get out of this descending channel, and then I'm looking for it to break this orange here. So it breaks that orange there, I'll be very, very bullish towards this green line up here, around 527. If it fails to do that, I'm looking at it coming down to this red line down here at 455. Now that would be like an absolute destruction of any call options that you've got. so I'm patiently waiting for this to break this descending trend line here. And once it does that, then I'll be looking at it much more closely. So anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day.